I think this will be the last video for this part of the project. I have two last screenshots of dubious usefulness. I have one on how to get the third-person content inside the first-person project so we can have our robot running around. You can also add other packages of characters, except they're all encrypted right now because of the hack of you in a high school of 2025. This next screenshot, the last screenshot, is a complicated one on how to add robot skin, our robot mesh, and animation blueprint to our first-person shooter character. Let's go do it. If you want to pause on either of those videos, you can, and maybe that'll help you faster than me explaining, but let's go get rolling. Here we go. I'm going to go add feature or content pack. Now, I apologize. I think some people might be missing the starter content with the explosions and stuff. If you are, you should have added starter content, and I'll probably put a screenshot or a short video between these so it doesn't confuse anyone. But I also want to add to my first-person project, this is the stuff that we can see now, I want to add this third-person package or this third-person content, okay? Now I'm going to hit add to project, and you'll see it makes two new folders. Watch, I had 5 right now: first person arms, FP weapon, level prototyping, and starter content. It's going to add 2 more. And let's go see what they are. You can hit the X once the 2 new folders are added. I'm going to go in third person, blueprints. This is where our third-person character, or an AI, if we want to make an AI, we could use this third-person robot blueprint. There's a third-person game mode that's not very interesting. There's third-person input, the same as our first-person input. So we're going to ignore the third-person folder. And also coming in was the characters folder. This has a mannequin, UE4. We're in Unreal 5, so we're going to go mannequins. I got some animations folders. If I go in Manny, hey, there's run, jump, and all those animations. Quinn. Let's see what's in Quinn's folder. I did not know it would take that long to load. Quinn is the female version of Manny with narrower hips and narrower shoulders. Broader hips and narrow shoulders. Manny has narrower hips and broader shoulders as a male-female model of a similar robot. So you can choose whichever you want in this project. In materials, we can see we've got the robot materials. Meshes is the 3D meshes that make up those objects made in a program like Blender or Maya. Rigs is the skeletons that go underneath. And textures is the pictures that make up the materials. So here's what we're going to do. You don't really need to know all that. I apologize. That was a little bit of a waste of time, but we should know a little bit about that. We're going to open up content, first person, blueprints, first person character again. Here's our player death script that we just made. Make sure that you can see viewport. Go back to it. If you can't, go window, load, UE4 classic. And here we go. Remember in our viewport, this is where we assemble our character. I want to briefly explain what all these pieces are. This is the parent. This is the self or the blueprint name. This is kind of just a holder that holds everything. It's an Unreal actor that has location, rotation, scale, and some really basic stuff, but we're going to leave all these other things alone in the parent, okay? As a child of the parent, we have the capsule component. This thing right here, this is, if you hover, it says collision cylinder. This is what blocks us from going through the floor and walls. It might also be the collider for bullets. I don't know that it is. It probably is. Some games will choose the mesh to be the collision for the bullets, right? You can shoot somebody in the arm or the leg. And the rounded bottom of this collision cylinder is so we can go over terrains and stairs easily without getting caught. If it was a cylinder, he'd get caught on the lip or the edge. This blue arrow component is just so we know which way is forward. That'll help us in a minute. This mesh is actually empty. That's odd. First-person camera is there. It doesn't have a boom. The third-person game has a boom where you can adjust the distance between the third-person character and your camera. First-person mesh is these wonky arms. This is from the Doom days. The original Doom game did not draw your entire character. It just drew your gun or your arms so that it would save some drawing power, so that it didn't take as much raw horsepower to draw those extra things that you couldn't even see. Character movement, like I said earlier, similar to projectile movement, has a bunch of properties or variables that control the movement speed, the movement state, how high you can jump, and stuff like that, how quick you can stop or slow down. Maximum walk speed is the most interesting one. And you're going to leave most of these alone. If you accidentally change one, you might need to hit this arrow, but it looks like I don't want to touch the arrows because that might set it to something else. So here we go. Do you remember which one of these we want to change? There was this empty first-person mesh that somebody put there, and they were so nice. If you look over on the right side, with the mesh selected, it says, there is none mesh, or no mesh, and there is none animation blueprint. Let's fix that. Because we imported the robot stuff, we're going to find mannequin and Manny stuff. But if we had imported a different package, we would find a skeletal mesh asset of a different kind here, maybe the horror villains, if you've seen that before. And we would find a corresponding animation blueprint to go along with it. And most Unreal characters use similar animation blueprints. So again, if you want mannequin or Manny or Quinn, it's your choice. I don't quite know the differences between mannequin. I think mannequin is the Unreal 4 one, and Manny is the Unreal 5 one, but I'm not sure. I also noticed that if I hit play right now, let's go do it. I'm going to hit play and watch. Player 2 can watch player 1 move around. Now look, I'm going forward into the blue boxes, but it looks like my robot's going sideways, and I'm touching those boxes before I even get there. Like you can see, it's not his arm, it's an invisible collider. Let's go see why. In this blueprint, everything is wrong. No, not everything. My arms are facing forward. It is not true that Manny has a arm growing out of his neck and his back, although that would be very useful if you worked on an assembly line or made burgers. You could do twice as much work and not get twice as much pay. So we want to do a couple things. We want to take this mesh that we just switched over here. And first off, while I'm on this right side, let's go give him an animation blueprint. I'm going to go to the top and ABP Manny. If he looks good, if he's playing his idle animation, you're in the right place. If it looks wonky, choose a different one. There's ABP Quinn and maybe some others and stuff, especially if you're using a different character. Now, I am going to go get the rotate tool and turn his body. And you can hit QWER to change those tools if you prefer. You can see where we were werewolf. I'm going to hit E to get the rotate tool and rotate him how many degrees? -90. Okay, now he's facing the same way as that blue arrow that helps us know which way the arms are pointing, and that's a lot closer. Now these arms have the luxury of floating backward, but we're going to get the move tool now, and we're going to try to eyeball it and get him with the green arrow somewhere towards the center. And it looks like there is no perfect center. If you watch these numbers, it's -15, -5, +5, and 0.0001. So I'm just going to go 0, 0, and that centered him out. I'm going to go look at his feet. His feet need to be pretty flush with the bottom there. If you see him in the ground or floating above the ground, you'll need to change this -96 number, but I think it's actually good. And if you actually need to move him with greater precision, you can turn off this snap right here. Right now, if I moved him up, it would be units of 10, 80, 76, 76, 86. You can turn this off and you'll have fine precision, but usually you want to leave the snapping on. So leave that blue grid on. And let's go hit play again. And if we're lucky, we'll see the backs of our necks. But, and I can't even see what player 2 can see anymore. There we go. Why am I seeing the back of my neck? Well, because that's where the camera's looking. Now, this is a cool little fix. I'm going to go back to my screenshot and see if you can figure it out. We've already done steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6 rotate, 7. We're on step 7. The last, and 8. Where's 8A? It's that one, okay. So check it out. I actually have this screenshot wrong. We only need to go to the mesh, and you go to the details up here where we changed his skin and his animation blueprint. Sorry, his mesh, skeletal mesh, and his animation blueprint. If you type owner, O-W-N-E-R, your life's going to be a lot easier because you only need these 2 boxes, or actually this box. I'm going to scroll down and find it the hard way. I'm going to hit and collapse these, which you don't need to do. But it's under rendering, which is, I think, really close to physics. Physics, animation rig, collision, we saw that earlier. Rendering is 5 more down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rendering. It's not under the regular rendering. Oh, we did see this before. Yeah, the visible and hidden in game. No, we didn't see it before. Under the advanced settings is where we find... where is it? Owner, no C, and only owner C. So again, if that's too much for you, just come type search up here, owner. And let's go click on the arms real quick. Check it out. These first-person arms, if you remember, we never saw any of our opponent's arms floating in the game. That's because they have only owner C checked, and it turns them off when I hit play in multiplayer. Well, what do I want to do with this white body? only owner sees. Well, does the owner want to look at his own neck with the camera? No. The owner no see this robot, but everybody else does. So let's hit compile and play. And my screenshot, if it's still the same one, it's wrong. You don't need to go to the arms and mess with anything. It already says only owner see on the arms. So let's go ahead and play. And now I should see 2 animated robot players of very good precision, running around, jumping, frolicking with each other, and it is beautiful. That animation blueprint works, the skeletal mesh works, and this is awesome. Let's go grab a gun. Uh-oh, my gun is in my body. So please note we're actually just combining 2 things here. We're combining the first person shooter gun with the third person character skeletal mesh and animation blueprint. So it looks kind of silly with his gun in his armpit, but we get the benefit that this gun does rotate so we can kind of see where we're aiming. And we'll call that good for now. I don't want to go to snapping guns to bones or anything like that just yet. I think we're in a good place to make the game more fun with what we have. So let's call that video good. I can't think of anything else we need to talk about, so we'll see you in the next one.